What's up? It's your boy Kevin to turn on this motherfucking YouTube shit. Wow, what the fuck?
What's up? It's your boy Kevin to turn YouTube shit. Hey man, we are Lit Entertainment. Turn. Change to motherfucking day. Chilling outside. Big crip in the gang chilling outside shit, man. Free Palestine, free Congo, rushing your thing and Texas stand the fuck up. Each day is a new day to be a better version of yourself. Never let somebody bring you down, I'll strike back. Never let somebody tell you who you are. Also never put yourself in a position that don't belong. Let's stay humble. You're a revolution on your movement. Keep your way first. Come to the Black Hebrew Israelite as a real Jew. We out here. Alright. Boom. Today, to motherfucking day, they hood outside. Big crip in the gang chilling outside shit, man. Gang. Go shit hood outside shit, man. Bruh. This is wild. You know what I'm saying? In these type of times, man, this is to be expected, honestly. You know what I'm saying? As we continuously to see during life that there's disrespect on humans and certain races as humans is at an all-time high. It's been like this, but you get what I'm saying? Social media. So we see that dude named Trey was hung from a tree, man. And this was in Missouri. And they got a racist problem known. And the police that they were trying to say it's an all black place, like I guess like the police and the governor stuff, but you know how it be. The white people behind it running with the money on. So they were saying that it looked like he just did it to himself. Kapetnick came in and did his own scanning, and it's found out that organs was missing. He was brutally beat. And we got bozos, coons, but they give like a good kind of different look on what we think about what could happen. But this shit get crazy. Let's look into this bit. Shout out to Inside the Case. We got Delta State student found hanging from tree. Trey Reed death. Bruh. This just happened. You know what I'm saying? And like I tell y'all niggas, bruh, it's war. And if y'all not ready, bruh, anything can happen. So stay woke.
Students heading to class. Now picture this. Instead of laughter echoing from dormitories or the smell of coffee drifting from the student union, the first thing you see is a body hanging from a tree. That horrifying image was the reality for those at Delta State University in Cleveland, Mississippi, on September 15th, 2025. A young man's life, just 21 years old, cut short, leaving behind not just questions, but a haunting silence that feels heavier than words can capture. Welcome back to the channel. Before we dive into this deeply unsettling and controversial story, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our deep dives into the stories that shake communities,
you feel me?
Challenge the truth, and demand answers. Because what you're about to hear is not just about one student. It's about history, perception, and the terrifying weight of unanswered questions. The young man at the center of this story was Demartravian Reed, known to friends and family as Trey. He wasn't just another face in the crowd. He was a son, a student, a life filled with potential. But in the early hours of that Monday morning, Trey's body was discovered hanging from a tree near the campus pickleball courts. The time? Just after 7 a.m. The place? The heart of Delta State University, a campus that was celebrating its 100th anniversary. Instead of joy and commemorations, the day spiraled into chaos, grief, and suspicion. At first glance, police and campus officials rushed to assure the public there was no foul play. The Bolivar County Coroner's Office released a preliminary statement, noting there were no broken bones, no signs of an assault. They leaned toward the possibility of suicide, emphasizing that their early investigation revealed nothing to suggest murder. But here's the problem. Stories like this in places like Mississippi carry ghosts. Ghosts of history, of lynchings, of racial terror that once turned trees into symbols of death.
Always saying
can a black man found hanging from a tree in the deep south ever be seen as just another tragic case of self-harm? Or does history itself demand we ask harder questions? Trey's family was not satisfied with the official explanation. Rumors began swirling online. Posts claimed Trey's arms and legs had been broken, that he bore injuries inconsistent with hanging. If those rumors were true, how could he have done this to himself? These whispers spread like wildfire, feeding the flames of distrust. Social media erupted with a single chilling refrain. Black people don't lynch themselves. That line wasn't just a comment. It was a reminder. A reminder of a painful legacy where black bodies were strung up in the name of power and hate, often dismissed by authorities with the same phrase, "No foul play suspected." The pressure mounted quickly. Civil rights attorney Ben Crump, known for taking on some of the most high-profile cases of racial injustice in America, stepped in to represent Trey's family. His involvement wasn't just legal. It was symbolic. It meant this case was not going to fade quietly into the background. Crump demanded transparency, calling for an independent investigation, access to campus surveillance footage, and a deeper probe into Trey's final hours. Because one question loomed above all others. What really happened to Trey Reed? Delta State tried to reassure its community. The administration canceled classes.
The police are trying to say that he just took himself
there was
out.
no ongoing threat.
But then they got a deeper look into the bitch.
And chapel doors opened for prayer. But in the halls and dormitories, students whispered. Some were scared, others angry. The image of a body hanging on campus became impossible to shake. Was this the act of a troubled young man, isolated in his own
down
pain?
south they
Or was
racist
this
as hell
something
down
darker,
here, bitch.
something systemic, something hidden in plain sight? What complicates this story further is Mississippi's history. This isn't just any state. It's a place where trees have borne witness to unspeakable crimes. Between the late 19th and mid-20th centuries, thousands of black men and women were lynched across the South. Their deaths were often brushed aside by local authorities, disguised as suicides or accidents, leaving families and communities shattered with no justice. So when Trey's death was quickly labeled as having no signs of foul play, it triggered not calm but outrage. History has taught people to distrust those words. After all, how many times before have they been used to erase the truth? But what happened in the hours leading up to his death? Was he alone? Did he meet someone? Did campus cameras capture his movements? These are the questions that remain unanswered. Questions that, if ignored, could bury the truth along with him. The case is still developing, but one thing
It's like they try to target
this story has
our
captured
black
national
people
attention
in like
because it sits at the
where,
intersection of tragedy, history,
it's
and
spiritual.
suspicion. It forces us to confront not just the death of one student, but the way America responds when black bodies are found hanging in trees. Are we too quick to assume suicide? Are we too slow to confront
I don't
the
think it's
possibility
that,
of
bro.
something sinister?
Because it's been happening a lot too quick lately. Nah,
can we
bro.
ever really separate the two? As the investigation continues, one image lingers. The tree. Silent, immovable, bearing witness to a death that refuses to be neatly explained. For Trey's family, that tree is a site of pain. For the community, it's a symbol of fear. And for the nation, it has become a question mark. What hangs from it isn't just Trey, it's the truth dangling just out of reach. And as we peel back the layers of this story, we're forced to ask, was Trey Reed's death the tragic decision of a young man in despair, or the echo of a past we thought we had left behind? The answer may change not only how we see this case, but how we confront the uneasy relationship between history and the present. The shock of Trey's death didn't end at the tree where his body was found. It rippled outward like a stone dropped in dark water. First through Delta State's campus, then through Cleveland, Mississippi, and soon across the entire country. But for his family, it wasn't just shock, it was suspicion. From the very beginning, they couldn't accept the explanation they were given. No foul play felt too convenient, too rehearsed, too familiar. After all, how many black families before them had been told the same thing, only to later discover that the truth had been buried with their loved ones? This is where the story takes a sharp turn, because when a family refuses to stay silent, the narrative changes. Trey's relatives didn't just grieve, they demanded answers. They called for
so they had to get their own personal people to go check what's going on.
Transparency. They wanted to know exactly what happened in those final hours of Trey's life, and they weren't alone.
So you know how they try to cover it up so fucking quick? Like, bitch, It just happened. How you gonna say it was most definitely this, but it just happened?
Social media, with its relentless
Can't
momentum,
go for that
turned
bullshit.
Trey's
They
death
lying,
into
bro.
a rallying cry. Hashtags demanded justice. Commenters
Trey
invoked
be
history,
lying like a
and a chilling
motherfucker,
phrase
bitch.
kept resurfacing. Black people don't lynch themselves. Enter Ben Crump.
Hell no.
To some, his name is synonymous with justice. To others,
To be honest, nigga, a nigga don't even think like that. Nigga, a nigga think he gonna get pow before he, a nigga, you know what I'm saying?
Crump
Like
has
a real nigga
represented
shit.
families in cases that shook the nation. George Floyd,
That's how
Breonna
you know
Taylor,
me some
Ahmaud
bullshit.
Arbery. He has stood in front of microphones, flanked by grieving parents, and demanded accountability when institutions looked the other way. By stepping into Trey Reed's case, Crump didn't just give the family a lawyer, he gave them a platform. Suddenly, what might have been dismissed as a local tragedy became a national story. But let's pause here and consider why Crump's involvement matters. It's not just about legal expertise, it's about optics. It signals to authorities that the eyes of the country are watching. It tells communities who have historically been ignored that their pain won't be silenced this time. And most importantly, it reframes the question. No longer is it simply, what happened to Trey? It becomes, will the truth about Trey ever be allowed to surface? Meanwhile, on campus, the tension was palpable. Classes were canceled. Centennial celebrations, meant to mark 100 years of Delta State history, were abruptly called off. The university president assured students that there was no ongoing threat, that they were safe. But how safe can you feel walking past the very tree where your classmate's body was found? How safe can you feel knowing rumors
remember that
swirl
other
faster than
kid
facts, and that the official
who got
narrative
beat
seems
up
incomplete?
and taken out by
Students held
some white
vigils,
people
lit candles, and
and
prayed,
rolled up in the
but
carpet
beneath
in
the
the
prayers was a
gym,
quiet dread. That
and
what
they
happened
never
to Trey
found out
could
who
happen
the
to
people
anyone.
who did it.
This dread is rooted in more than just recent events.
But I don't trust
It's
none of this
historical
shit.
memory.
You know what I'm
Mississippi is
saying?
no
At the
stranger to
end
the
of the
haunting
day,
image of a body hanging from a tree. In fact, the state holds some of the darkest chapters of
you don't want
America's
me
racial
nobody
history.
hanging from a tree.
During the Jim Crow era,
What's
lynchings
going
weren't
on?
just acts of violence. They were tools of terror designed to send a message. Whole communities lived under the shadow of that message. Stay in your place, or this could be you. It was brutality
Hell no,
disguised as
pop your
control,
motherfucking shit. Don't
carried
let
out
you
in
motherfuckers
broad
scare us,
daylight,
nigga. We got
often
God,
with the
Yahweh.
silent complicity of local officials.
No weapon formed
Now
against
think
us shall
about that
prosper,
history
bitch.
colliding with Trey's death. Even if every medical
They
report
can say all
concludes
these
there was no foul play, even
shots
if
and
every
all
camera
this.
angle
We
shows him
ain't
walking
going for
alone,
it. We
the
gonna pop
symbolism
our ears.
is unavoidable. A
So
young
they
black
talking about,
man
nigga.
found hanging from a tree in Mississippi in
Try to be some
2025.
bullshit, nigga.
It's enough to ignite suspicion, outrage, and fear. Because history doesn't stay in the past. It echoes. And in Trey's case, it echoed loudly. This is why Representative
If
Benny
it on
Thompson's
some, if it's
voice
on
entered
some
the
dope or some
conversation.
shit,
Thompson,
there
Mississippi's
go
longest-serving black
30 people
congressman,
for
didn't
30
mince
years
words.
looking for who did it.
He called for the FBI to take
Motherfucking
part in the
person hanging from a
investigation.
tree,
His reasoning
black.
was clear.
They
When
closed
the
that
local
bitch in like
community doesn't
a
trust
month or
local
two.
authorities, only
What's
an outside
going on?
agency can restore credibility. But even that raises questions. Can federal investigators, who so often move slowly and cautiously, uncover the truth before public attention shifts elsewhere? Or will Trey's story, like so many others, fade into the fog of unanswered mysteries? As all of this unfolded, one theme kept resurfacing: surveillance. In an age where cameras are everywhere, from dorm hallways to street corners, how could there be so little clarity about Trey's final movements? His family wanted to see the footage. They wanted to know who he was with, what time he left his dorm, whether he was truly alone. But access to surveillance isn't always straightforward. Universities and police departments often guard it tightly, citing ongoing investigations. So the footage that could answer everything or confirm suspicions remains locked away, a ghost behind closed doors. And here's where the tension becomes unbearable. Because in the absence of transparency, rumors grow. And rumors are dangerous. They fill the gaps left by silence, painting pictures that may or may not be real. Did Trey have broken arms and legs? Did someone lure him to that tree? Was there evidence of a struggle? We don't know. And not knowing is precisely what fuels outrage. Because silence in moments like
So
these
they just hid
feels less
all
like
the
caution and
evidence
more like concealment.
of what happened.
Think about Trey himself for a
It just
moment.
said he took
Not
himself
just the
out.
headlines,
But they didn't
the
get no
person.
examining
The
record of his
21-year-old
body or
student
health.
with family back in Grenada, Mississippi. Maybe he had dreams of graduation, of careers, of building a life beyond the small town he came from. Maybe he carried the pressures we'll never fully understand. Did he struggle quietly, unseen by those around him? Or was he carrying the weight of something darker? Threats, isolation, or fear? The tragedy is that we may never know his full story. And yet the questions surrounding his death demand that we try. Meanwhile, across social media, the case exploded. Hashtags like Dashi Justice for Trey trended. Commenters invoked the painful legacies of Emmett Till, of James Byrd Jr., of countless names etched into America's brutal history of racial violence. The refrain was always the same. This doesn't add up. People shared their disbelief, their anger, their fear. And once again, the line emerged. Black people don't lynch themselves. Whether literal or symbolic, the phrase captured the collective refusal to accept an official story that felt incomplete. By now, Trey's case was more than just an investigation. It had become a battleground between trust and suspicion, history and present, silence and truth. Every statement from officials was scrutinized. Every rumor was amplified. Every call for transparency was weighed against centuries of systemic denial. And through it all, one haunting image lingered: the tree. That ordinary tree, now transformed into a symbol of pain, fear, and the desperate search for answers. As the days passed, vigils turned into protests. Voices grew louder. And yet the official investigation moved slowly, methodically, as investigations often do. But here's the haunting reality. Time can erode momentum. Attention shifts, headlines fade, outrage cools. And if answers don't come soon, Trey's story risks becoming just another file in a cabinet marked unsolved. So the question becomes, will Trey Reed's death be remembered as a tragic suicide, a reflection of personal despair, or will it be revealed as something far more sinister? An act of violence hidden beneath the familiar phrase, "no foul play suspected." Right now, the truth dangles in uncertainty.
That's what they really
just
don't
like
want
Trey
us to
himself was left
understand.
dangling from that tree. And until the
They
full
want us
story
to think that
emerges,
it was
the
just
nation waits,
on some
haunted by the
just
possibility
he's
that
ready
history
to
has
get
repeated
over
itself
with.
on the grounds of a university meant
But
to
we
nurture
know
life,
what type of
not
time we
witness
living
death.
in.
In tragedies like this, time becomes its own character, an
We gotta
invisible
fight for our
force shaping
lives
the
out
story.
here. That's a
With
fact.
each passing day, the memory of Trey Reed's final moments grows heavier for those closest to him, while the official investigation drags forward in increments too small to satisfy a grieving family or a restless community. Time doesn't heal when the truth is absent. It festers like a wound left open. And in Mississippi, of all places, the weight of history means that every unanswered question carries a shadow longer than the present itself. Trey's family continues to press for answers. They've demanded an independent autopsy, a second look at the body that might confirm or contradict the coroner's initial findings. Was there really no evidence of trauma beyond the hanging itself? No broken bones, no signs of a struggle? The family isn't convinced. They want transparency. They want surveillance footage. And most of all, they want their son's story told in full. Not reduced to a sterile phrase like, "no foul play suspected." Because when that phrase gets repeated enough, it begins to sound less like truth and more like dismissal. Attorney Ben Crump has echoed this sentiment loudly. He knows better than anyone that silence breeds suspicion, and suspicion demands accountability. He's framed Trey's case as not only a family's tragedy, but a reflection of America's ongoing struggle with racial injustice. He's called for national scrutiny, for federal involvement, for eyes that can't be swayed by local politics or pressure, and his message is clear. This cannot be just another Black Death brushed aside. Not in 2025. Not when history has already written the same script too many times. But even as the family and their advocates fight, the official narrative remains frustratingly simple. A young man found hanging, no evidence of foul play. That's the refrain repeated in press conferences, written into preliminary reports, echoed in news headlines. Yet the simplicity of that narrative clashes violently with the complexity of the context. Because in the Deep South, the sight of a Black man hanging from a tree will never, ever be viewed in isolation. It carries the specter of every lynching photograph that once served as postcards of terror. It drags forward the memories of strange fruit hanging from southern trees, a grotesque truth immortalized in song and scarred into memory. And so the question burns. Even if the coroner is correct, even if Trey's death was the tragic result of personal despair, why did the system rush to say it wasn't anything more? Why not allow a transparent process to unfold, with the evidence shared, the family informed, and the community reassured? In the absence of clarity, conspiracy takes root. People imagine what they're not told. And in a state where silence has too often hidden injustice, those imaginings feel less like paranoia and more like survival. Students on campus live in this tension daily, walking past the pickleball courts, glancing at the tree that now feels like a crime scene. They carry with them an unease that no counseling session can erase. Some whisper about Trey's last night, piecing together fragments of rumor. Others grow angry, demanding accountability from administrators. Many just feel unsafe, haunted by the idea that a life could end so violently and so mysteriously, right in the heart of their university. For them, Trey isn't just a name on the news. He's a face they may have passed in the cafeteria, a voice they may have heard in class. His absence is personal. The wider community feels it too. Cleveland, Mississippi is not a large town, and the death of a student reverberates through its streets. Churches hold prayers, families talk around dinner tables, and beneath those conversations lies a deeper fear. That Trey's story is part of a cycle that has never truly been broken. That no matter how much progress is claimed, the old wounds remain just beneath the surface, waiting to tear open again.
See, in this corrupt
Nationally,
ass system,
the case continues to stir
it's like,
debate.
nigga, we should be
Some
going
argue
crazy.
that rushing to assume foul play undermines the possibility that Trey may have been battling
This
private
system's so
demons,
fucking corrupt,
struggles
nigga.
invisible to those around
They don't
him.
want
They caution against ignoring
us
the
to
epidemic of
realize
mental
that
health
they've been
crises
trying to
among
take us
young
out for the
people,
beginning on. We have
especially
to
college students burdened by pressure,
really do something
debt, and
about
isolation.
the situation.
But others respond with equal force. History demands skepticism. When black bodies are found in
And if
ways
this
that
would have been
echo
just
the
brushed
horrors
under
of
the
the
rug,
past,
nigga,
skepticism isn't optional,
like,
it's survival. These two
that
narratives
wouldn't have done
collide in the
nothing.
public sphere, with Trey's story at their center, a mirror reflecting the nation's unresolved contradictions. And so, what remains? A grieving family, fighting not only for truth but for dignity. A university community torn between shock and distrust. A national audience watching, tweeting, demanding justice. And above all, an unanswered question. What really happened on that campus beneath that tree? This is the kind of story that doesn't end cleanly. It lingers. It forces us to examine not only the facts, but the silences between them. Was Trey Reed's death a tragic suicide? The result of a young man overwhelmed by burdens we'll never fully understand? Or was it something far
And 12
darker?
ain't gonna do shit.
Modern-day lynching hidden
Bro, they
beneath
already
familiar
tried to
language
dismiss
of
the
denial.
case off the
The answer
bat.
may lie
Quick,
in an
nigga.
autopsy, in surveillance footage, in reports yet to
I'm
be
like,
released,
nigga.
or it may remain forever shrouded, lost in the gap between what is known and what is believed. But perhaps the most haunting truth is this. Whether or not foul play is ever proven, Trey's death has already become part of a larger narrative. It forces America to confront its history, to acknowledge how the past seeps into the present. A young black man found hanging in Mississippi cannot be seen without context. That context is what makes Trey's story bigger than Trey. It's what makes it a national conversation, a reminder that progress is fragile and that the echoes of injustice never fully fade. So as we close this story, let me leave you with this thought. Sometimes the most terrifying part of a mystery is not what we know, but what we may never know. Trey Reed's death is a wound that cuts across family, community, and history. The investigation may conclude with a clear explanation, or it may not. But the image of that tree,
A
standing
lot of
silent
these
on
stuff,
Delta
like,
State's
I be
campus,
watching a
will
lot of
remain
videos,
a symbol of pain,
and
of
it's sad
suspicion,
because
and of the
this happens a
relentless
lot.
demand for answers.
And they always say
And maybe that's
it's
the hardest
KOing
truth
each
of
other,
all,
but
that in
I don't
cases
think
like
it's
this,
that, nigga.
the search for
Like,
justice
it's
isn't only
impossible.
about
Like,
what
bro, like,
happened in
niggas
one
not
moment.
thinking like that.
It's about what a
Bruh,
society is willing to confront.
we
Will Trey's
know
story become another footnote in
the
a long line of
KKK out here
tragedies?
and the
Or will
racist
it be the
people, man,
spark that
are going
forces us to look
crazy
harder,
at this time,
demand
man.
more,
But all
and
this
refuse
goddamn
silence? That
shit
choice
that's
doesn't
going
rest
on in
only
this
with
world.
investigators or politicians.
Shit.
It rests with us. How we remember, how we speak, how we demand truth. Because at the end of the day,
Motherfuckers,
a
man,
life
these
was
people be doing
lost.
some weird
A
rituals
family
type
was
shit, bro. I'm
shattered.
telling you.
And a tree became more than wood and leaves. It became a question mark, towering over Mississippi, over America, over all of us. And the question it asks is simple but devastating. Will the truth ever be known, or will it,
In
like
this
Trey,
type of
remain
society,
hanging, suspended between life and
hopefully,
death,
but
history
we
and
might not
present,
never know unless we was in that
silence and
situation to
justice?
know in the know. Shout out to Black Conservative Perspective. I ain't never heard of him or seen him, but shout out to him. Colin Kapetnick, man. He funds independent autopsy to prove white mob lynched Trey Reed, nigga.
Like clockwork, all of the violence is never the answer folk have gone back into being quiet. When it was Charlie Kirk,
Yeah, we
y'all
need to
were
go
fine
crazy.
calling that out. But when it was Trey Reed, a 21-year-old black student at Delta State University in Mississippi who was unalived by...
None of them want to say nothing.
None of y'all want to say nothing about that. Trey's body was found at 7
And that's what we be saying. They want us to crash out for some dude named Charlie Kirk, but we don't know the fuck that. Then we have people who are civilians who really just be trying to live life, be getting KO'd
in their investigation.
by racist
Think about this
people.
for a second. Do you understand the history of strange fruit in this country? Do you understand what this symbol means? This is not a way that black people die if there is no foul play involved. There is foul play involved. There were bruises and broken bones involved. His family has asked that we do not share any graphic images of Trey's body, but they are demanding accountability and justice.
They didn't even want to tell the people what happened. Kalen Kapetnick had to pay to get an autopsy.
Have been so quiet about it.
So y'all are upset that it wasn't a white mob that unalived that young man at the university, Delta University in Mississippi. Y'all are upset that it wasn't, because the black police chief, university chief, came out and said that he saw the videos and it seems to be a suicide. Then you had the black coroner's office, which is black men, that also coincided his reports with the university police. And then you also have the black county sheriff as well. All of them are in on this investigation in a town that is predominantly black. But you're upset because you couldn't use this to continue your race hustling, your division, and grifting for gains and clicks and likes. I've never seen so much confusion for people.
Bro, if this dude have broken bones in his arms
look high and low,
and legs,
scour everywhere to find
my tree, nigga, that's intentional foul, nigga.
Alright guys, so we got to continue our coverage of what I believe to be probably one of the most disgusting grifts that I've seen in this country in a long time. And that has to do with the story involving Trey Reed, the black college student in Mississippi that apparently hung himself. Now, you have essentially an all-black team of individuals that are responsible for investigating the death of this college student. And they essentially come to the conclusion that he hung himself. They committed suicide.
Bruh, come on.
Very sad, very tragic. However, I don't think this is really a national news story. And people are trying to make this a national news story because they really want to, one, distract from Charlie Kirk, which again is why they're talking about this young man in the first place. But also they want to push the race narrative, which is that this young black student was hung by a white mob, even though there's no evidence or proof whatsoever that happened. Okay, this came from an unfounded rumor spread on the internet by an individual claiming to be the cousin of Trey Reed, and come to find out that individual was not actually Trey Reed's cousin, that he doesn't know Trey Reed like that, and basically he was spreading these unfounded rumors for clicks and likes. Okay, but despite all that, again, the race hustlers and some of these woke activists, these liberals, are convinced that there's no way that a black man would hang him.
Autopsy came in and basically said he did himself, right? We all know that's a lie. Now, I stayed quiet all week. All the white folks start coming in and they start inboxing me. I told you, he did it himself. Oh, you are spreading misnews and all this stuff. I keep telling y'all white folks, black people don't hang themselves, especially in Mississippi. So shut the fuck up. And for two, the reason why I haven't posted is because I'm waiting on the family to post. I'm waiting on the family to keep us updated. I'm not just going to keep posting just for the fun of it, because everything ain't about likes and views. And not only that, I'm a content creator. I got other videos to put out. And I've been told y'all what I thought. Y'all got to look at Trey Reed case like this. When they first found him, within the first hour, they already said he did it himself. Before the autopsy was ever thought of. With the autopsy or without the autopsy, they had already said he did it himself. That's the point that y'all missing. That's the biggest red flag in the case. Now, I'm going to say this right here, and I'm going to leave the case alone until the family speak out. Delta State University trying their best to cover up Trey Reed case. Because, let me just tell y'all this, everything is about money. If Trey Reed case come back as if somebody did that to him on Delta State University campus, that campus can lose a lot of money, or that campus can shut down. Them white people ain't finna let their campus shut down, so they rather just cover it up. That's my opinion. It's money over lives. Y'all gotta think about it. If they come out and say Trey Reed was hung in a tree at Delta State University, all the students probably gonna down there transfer. That's one bag that Delta State gonna lose, because ain't nobody gonna feel safe on campus. And if they lose too many kids, they gonna have to shut it down. They gonna have to shut it down because now they got a bad name. They went from a 5-star university to a damn
That's some
1.2.
facts, you know what I'm saying?
Nothing but bad results. But how you think they're gonna make Delta State look? My point is that.
Right? This is what they have brainwashed themselves into believing, that it had to be a white mob, despite the fact that the black coroner, the black sheriff, all the black individuals involved with this says, no, this is a suicide. And the official state autopsy confirmed that this was a suicide. But some people just don't want to believe that that's what this was. So let's go ahead and get into this.
You pay thousands in
State University and the Cleveland Police Department say Reed's autopsy proves he died by suicide. Some DSU students accepted this information while others are still skeptical. Students on Delta State University's campus react to Cleveland Police Department's ruling of Trey Reed's death.
I don't have much of an opinion on the autopsy. I'd like to think that they aren't lying, but considering the history of Mississippi, it's hard to be sure.
On Thursday, it was ruled that the 21-year-old DSU student died by suicide. Reed was found hanging from a tree on the university's campus near the pickleball courts Monday.
The family needs to hire their own personal investigator. I think they need to do their own investigating.
Civil rights attorney Ben Crump, who stepped in to represent Reed's family, said that they are seeking an independent autopsy. Reed's grandfather said he is suspicious of CPD's initial ruling on Reed's death because they were misinformed by officials.
He told me that they found Trey Reed in his room.
Crump is also demanding that they are shown a video of what led to Trey's death.
You keep telling us what to believe, but you're not showing us any evidence, showing us any video.
Cleveland police say all files and materials have been turned over to the FBI and U.S. Attorney's Office for review. They add final toxicology results could take 2 to 4 weeks to complete.
If he really did kill himself, I hope his family finds peace, and if he didn't, I hope his family finds justice.
The Trey Reed's independent autopsy is being paid for by the Colin Kaepernick's Know Your Rights Camp Autopsy Initiative.
Yeah, so there you have it. Does anybody need more evidence and proof that this is a giant grift? Okay, that this is just a bunch of race hustlers desperately wanting this story to be something that it seems as if, based off the facts and evidence as of right now, it isn't, right? This is not a story about a white mob lynching a black college student. It's just not. But they really want it to be, right? And it's really sad. It really is. It's really sad that you have people who can't just accept that all of the black people involved, the black leadership involved, says that, hey, this is not a white mob that killed this young man.
I think the niggas got paid off.
Was probably going through some mental health issues and decided to take his own life. They can't accept that because for whatever reason they believe it's impossible for a black man to want to hang himself. I don't get it, right? I really don't.
But you know how
long
and tedious that take when you can just file your shit?
They're discussing individuals, okay?
You know what I'm saying? When you can just
that's all you know. Ben Crump and
Colin
Kaepernick
and just say, okay, let me get to the rope and just
so what happens when the independent autopsy is done and it shows the same thing that the state autopsy says, right? Which is that there were no broken bones. There was no bruises. There was no sign of physical confrontation that you normally would see in a situation where there was actually a physical struggle, okay? No, we don't have any of that. What are they going to do? Are they going to accept the autopsy results and say that, hey, you know what? This is a suicide? Are they then going to move on and talk about how maybe we should have a conversation about mental health in this country? Right? Because I think that is a real conversation we should be having about, well, what led this young man to do this, right? What was he going through that made him decide that, hey, this is the best way for me to deal with this? But sadly, that conversation is not happening because the people who claim to be so concerned about what happened to Trey Reed don't give a damn about Trey Reed. They don't care. All they care about is his dead black body being used for their own political agenda. Being used for their own political.
I do feel like there's a lot of
clout,
tedious
for their own
hustle in this shit.
They are concerned about because
that don't take the fact that nigga, we need to see what the fuck going on. If it's not even, if they lied to the nigga
off of a white mob killing a black man, okay, this is why they wish that is what happened to Trey Reed, right? They're wishing, they're trying to manufacture.
If the cop said he was found in the bed in his room.
Because
And
again,
he's
the
hanging from a
suicide
tree. That's
explanation,
lying.
that's just not juicy enough, right? Black man hanging from a tree in Mississippi. Come on, got to be a white mob involved. There has to be a white man involved, okay? Because again, for them, that story would be useful for their pockets, right? It would be useful for their grip. It would be useful for the political agenda that they're trying to push. This is why Ben Crump is involved. This is why Colin Kaepernick is involved. Again, I ask, if Colin Kaepernick actually funds this independent autopsy and it shows that this black student hung himself, are these people going to accept that and move on? Or are they going to continue to, quote unquote, demand justice? I don't know, right? But my gut feeling is that they're going to move on, right? They're going to move on past it because these people have shown time and time and time again that they only care when it fits a certain narrative. They only care when a white person is involved. They don't care when, again, a black person kills themselves, right? Or when black people kill each other. Because what I found to be fascinating about all this is that all these people who claim to be so concerned about Trey Reed had absolutely no concern whatsoever about Mahogany Jackson, who was a young girl from Alabama, right? So we're talking about in that area, okay, of the South, who was lynched, who was actually lynched, except it wasn't by a white mob, it was by a black mob. And for whatever reason, all these people who are so concerned about black people being lynched, right? Black people being lynched in America, had absolutely no concern whatsoever about a black woman being lynched by a black mob, which tells you everything you need to know about what these people actually care about.
Lynching?
They don't give a damn about black people being lynched. All they care about is being able to point the finger at a white person and say, hey, white person lynched a black person, right? But again, when it's black people lynching black people, which, hey, just saying, we got an actual story about that. Again, for whatever reason, it flew under the radar of the race hustlers, right? Colin Kaepernick did not step up and support the family of Mahogany Jackson, who was actually lynched. So without further ado, let's look back at this story and try to figure out why is it that the race hustlers didn't pick up on what happened to Mahogany Jackson.
Tonight, new details in the death of Mahogany Jackson. 6 of the 8 suspects in court today. Thank you so much for joining us here at 6. I'm Brittany Decker.
I'm Guy Rawlings. We've been following the Mahogany Jackson case. WVTM 13's Aaron Llewellyn, live and local in Birmingham tonight, outside the Jefferson County Courthouse. A lot of the details too gruesome to talk about, Aaron.
Yeah, Guy, Brittany, the hearing today lasted for about 3 hours, and the legal teams went through the details of what led up to Mahogany Jackson's death and even uncovered some new details about her final moments, and some of it was too unbearable for her family to hear. Now, today we know that the defense attorneys claimed that Jackson was at one of the suspects' house, Brandon Pope, and questioned him about a gun that she says was stolen and money that was also stolen from her purse at some point throughout the day. She even made him strip to prove he didn't have it. Now, Pope told Harris to do something to her because she made him strip. Now, the detectives working the case say Jackson was assaulted multiple times throughout the time she was being held against her will. Now, both Jackson and some of the suspects' families were in the courtroom today for the detailed hearing. Some of it becoming emotional. Now, District Attorney Danny Carr says her family might be disappointed some of the charges were reduced or thrown out, but they are one step closer to justice.
They understand the circumstances, but they also appreciate what we have in front of us, and they understand that this is a marathon and not a sprint. There's still a lot of work ahead of us, and we'll be there with them every step of the way and make sure that there's accountability.
It's easy to feel.
So this is a female who got lynched by a couple of black people? Crazy.
Pope and McDowell took her to clean Harris's car out. Even though the defense claims Harris said they were taking her back to her house. That's when Harris is accused of pulling the trigger and shooting Jackson in the back of the head. Now, District Attorney Danny Carr calls this one of the most gruesome murders he's ever seen.
Since I've been in this office, I've had some, yes. Some of y'all maybe, I was young too at the time, but
good gang?
The Thanksgiving homicide at the Airport Inn Hotel where 3 people were brutally murdered in the Airport Inn Hotel on Thanksgiving morning. I actually handled that case and tried it myself. That was a very brutal case. This one, unlike that one, the brutality kind of played itself out in real time because it's video. There's a video involved.
But this is a funny
Now,
thing.
this case is still being
When there's
investigated,
some black people
new
who
details
did
could
it,
emerge in the coming days.
they find the
things that are still
people.
being investigated are
When there's
rape
some white
kits and
people who
ballistic
did it,
results. Now, the two other suspects in this case are expected to be back in court
it's
for the
KO.
same hearing
They
on
did it
Monday.
themselves.
For now, we're live in Birmingham.
Y'all just see it, bro. If black people does it, they find the people automatically, easily.
Local news clearly doesn't
White
want to
people
get
does it,
into
they can't find them.
details of what happened
It's
to
weird, bro.
Miss Mahogany Jackson, who again was a 20-year-old
The cops know who
from
did it.
Jasper,
They
Alabama.
get paid,
I'm
bro.
going to get
The
into
city
details
paying
because
them
I want you
niggas,
guys
bro.
to understand again exactly what happened to this young girl. And again, this is apparently a story that the race hustlers, the so-called Black Lives Matter activists, don't seem to care about, because Miss Jackson was held against her will, assaulted and tortured over several hours. She was dragged by her hair,
But they found her.
stripped, restrained by handcuffs.
They supposedly
She
found
was
the
sexually
people.
assaulted, and some of the actions were videotaped.
They
by the
supposedly
suspect.
found the people. In this court case,
What you have here
of what's going
again, is
on,
an actual
they
lynching,
saying
an
that
actual
they don't know who
lynching.
did
We're talking about
it. The police
charges,
lied.
capital murder, kidnapping, rape/sodomy.
But allegedly, to what they saying, they found the people.
6 to 8 people involved. An actual
On this
lynching, an actual
motherfucking
lynching.
shit, they didn't find nobody.
Which again,
And the
apparently,
police
is something
lied.
these people are so
You
concerned
can't
about.
believe nothing the police says, bro.
But none of these people talked about Mahogany Jackson. And
You
what
see
happened
how
to
the
her.
government got their own personal agents
Had
they
any
bring in the
concern
state?
whatsoever.
Nigga, we don't believe
Now,
nothing they say,
talked about it at
nigga.
the time. I talked about it
You
on
don't
this
believe
channel.
nothing they police
I covered
say,
this
bro.
story,
They'll do anything
right?
for a check.
But
And they get the
again,
kill
there
do
are a lot of these
whatever
race
for
hustlers
free.
who again claim they love black
They ain't
people
get
so
away
much.
with it.
They're so concerned about black lives. But for whatever reason,
They can take my life tomorrow and be
20-year-old
claimed a
black
hero.
woman was
What's
lynched in
going
Alabama,
on?
right? In
I do
Alabama.
some goofy shit. I'm most
None of these
definitely
people
taken
care.
out as like,
They
oh,
covered
the big
it.
bad.
They
You know
talk
what
about
I'm saying?
it.
Like,
They did not care at all.
bullshit, nigga.
Ben Crump was not on the scene. Colin Kaepernick was not donating any money to the family. Tariq Nasheed and the FBAs said absolutely nothing, didn't give a damn. This FBA woman was lynched. Lynched. FBA's silent. Nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found. Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. But Trey Reed, though, again, because they believed that he was hung by a white mob with no evidence. Oh, was so concerned about black people
Did they
being
find who
lynched.
did it?
It's in Mississippi.
Did they find
it's
who
in the
did
South.
it? Did they find who
Oh
did
God,
it?
this is so terrible. No evidence whatsoever that this was a lynching, much less about a white mob. Again, if he was murdered, if Trey Reed was actually murdered, he was likely by all the black folks. In which, at that point, again, they would not care about this story, right? Evidenced by their lack
Even
of
the white boy like, well, I don't know. This is Missouri. They do be on some weird shit around this bitch.
That's why I can't stand them. That's why I can't stand them.
If a
Because
dude
they
going
pretend as if
to
they're so
the
righteous
motherfucking school, college campus saying some shit like that, he knows
They
some bullshit
are
happens.
standing on some moral high ground, that they're so down with protecting black people and black lives, right? But these people don't give a damn about black lives, right? Especially
I can agree with that at a 10. But if they would never even get to like they name attached to shit, a lot of people don't even know what's going
once they
on.
find out, or once they can't.
You get what I'm saying? So if they name wasn't even attached to what's happening, a lot of people won't even know who these people are and for us to even, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes even their name can bring light to some crazy shit like Trey Reed, bro. It's
He won't be
crazy.
useful to them, right? His dead black body will not be useful to them. Again, that's the sad part about all this. So we're gonna see what Colin Kaepernick's independent autopsy finds. My gut feeling is that if it's done correctly, right, if it's not rigged, they're gonna find the same thing that the state found. And at that point, again, they're gonna have to decide whether or not they actually care about what happened to this young man. And my gut feeling is that they're gonna move on, right? They're gonna move on to stories, to other dead black
this shit
bodies
just
that
getting
they
wild,
believe they
bro.
can use for their own
This
personal
happening
gain.
too many times,
So,
too
you know what you guys think? Make sure
consistently.
you like, comment, and subscribe.
With all this stuff, what's going on overseas and this civil war.
doesn't have to put your life on.
Shout out to Willie D Live. Kaepernick under fire for exposing truth with Trey Reed. And that's what they don't want us to know.
What's up, family?
They trying to take us niggas
a
down.
21-year-old black student at Delta State University in Cleveland, Mississippi, was found hanging from a tree on campus. Local authorities, including the medical examiner, was quick, I mean super quick, to rule his death a suicide. But the family was not buying it. With the help
for some dope, nigga, they go 30 years looking for the shit.
His organization, Know Your Rights Camp Autopsy Initiative. I broke the news earlier today with Krista Muhammad of the New Black Panther Party on my Willie D Live channel that the autopsy revealed Trey had a fractured skull in the back of his head.
Whoa!
He had contusions. He had bruises on his back and buttocks, meaning that they stomped him, fam. They didn't just bust him in the back of the head and kill him. They stomped him. Now, you got a lot of uncivilized mutts out there.
That's what I was trying to tell y'all,
mad at Colin Kaepernick, even more mad at him because they were mad at him when they first heard the news announced that he would pay for the autopsy. They were saying things like, because the investigation, the official investigation, had already ruled the death a suicide, that
and that's how you know it was some white people. Because if it was black people, they would have been dumbfounded. It's some white people because they not finding the shit. They trying to close that shit down expeditiously. Look at this shit. Even the white boys say, well, I don't know. I'm thinking at this type of shit, bruh.
On an official ruling. I mean, our elected officials and law enforcement.
That's what I'm trying to tell y'all, nigga, this is
honest.
war.
Why would anybody ever doubt them? Yeah, fam. Some of them accuse Colin Kaepernick of paying for the autopsy to stay relevant.
And that's what I was trying to tell you. The dude that I was watching, that goofy ass nigga.
He's in the history books.
Nigga, if it's foul play, it's foul play. You know, I'm gonna give a listen to anybody. You know what I'm saying?
Or not, you uncivilized mutts.
That's a fact. Y'all sound so smart to be big, smart ass dummies. Nigga smell some bozo shit with some bozo shit, nigga. Trip.
You ain't kill another black, hang another black. You just sweep it under the rug. What are you poking around for, man?
Yeah.
Leave us alone. Go back to the big city. Yeah.
And that's why we need motherfuckers out here who got some help, who can help the situation to see what the bozo shit is going on around this bitch.
Racial tensions.
Nigga, these officials are getting paid by the system, nigga.
Colin Kaepernick's high-profile involvement and the history of racial violence in Mississippi
shit, nigga.
would unnecessarily stoke racial tensions by suggesting a cover-up where authorities found no evidence of foul play.
They lied. They lied.
If Mississippi is indeed
and Kaepernick found the truth.
State, a post-racial state, you know, the history should be.
Let's hire all black officials. But behind the scenes, the white people are
that's the old Mississippi.
Fucking shit up.
Killing niggas. You want to come and check this out? You want to make sure that we cross our T's and dot our I's? Come on in, black people. Come on in and see the truth. Come on in. Walk toward the truth. This is Mississippi. We have nothing to hide. That's the old Mississippi. That was our ancestors who was hanging your ancestors. That was our ancestors.
Exactly what that dude in the video said.
In the 60s.
They don't want to ruin their college
in the 90s.
Reputation.
In the 2000s. That was them, not us. No, this is a different Mississippi.
Don't fall for the bullshit.
Said, right?
The same savages, bro. It just, hey, you just gotta be careful out here. People can play games, man.
Colin Kaepernick getting this second autopsy done was going to somehow discredit the officials. Some commenters on social media accuse Colin and others of seeking to
delegitimize the official medical and law enforcement findings for their own agenda.
The dude we were just watching, that clown.
Not
but it like, I did like what he was saying though, because he does bring a different perspective of like, nigga, it could be some fugazi, not like some weird shit going on. Like, but
no matter what
as
story
we
we
knew,
tell you,
it's some
just
shit.
believe us. First they say the boy was found dead
died from
in his dorm room.
That's a death.
Then come to find out, no, he's hanging out. He's outside hanging out.
Yeah.
But he ain't hanging out chilling with the friends stuff. He hanging from a tree.
Yeah, they say he was in the dorm room.
Because they killed him. And now on every level, it's being covered up. Where he was found at, near the pickleball court. Cameras everywhere, fam. But they had none of these places that pulled camera. Law enforcement has yet to say, hey, family, come on over here. We got the footage. We got video, just like we always do when we out here trying to solve a crime. We find video, we get the video, we pull the video from homes, we pull the video from the schools, we pull the video from anywhere we got a camera. We just keep on pulling video until we locate our target. That's what we do. Come on in, we got a bunch of video to show y'all. Check it out. Nothing, fam. Nothing. Okay. Now, we talked about the detractors. Now, this is why Trey Reed's supporters want that information, wanted the second independent autopsy done. Let's start with the Reed family, because they received conflicting information from authorities, leading them to question the initial findings. The mother told me herself, I don't trust it because they told me several different stories, not two different stories, several different stories. So the mother was suspicious. He was found hung.
Several different stories,
it's the police that's coming to tell the story. The police that's coming to tell the story, break the news to the family, they should know more than anybody. They should know where the body was found.
Damn, this system corrupt as fuck.
Anyway, fam, so that's
some white people paid these people off.
Look at the historical context of Mississippi and how so many thousands and thousands of black people that has been hung in the state of Mississippi. And to date, I don't know one person who's been held accountable for any of those hangings.
They all say it's KO. They all say it's they self. Unless it's some black people. If black people did it, we know exactly who did it. Some white people, nigga, we don't know who the fuck did it.
By default,
goofy shit.
It's a suicide. They just, suicide.
Yeah.
Suicide.
Black people, it's black people. White people,
we
don't know who that is. This KO took the step out.
Like right now, they got a code. Before anybody get hung, the next person get hung, they've already ruled it a suicide.
That's what I'm saying.
It's a suicide.
Before they even look into it.
What they see is suicide.
If they got camera video proof of black people doing it, they don't give a fuck.
You never see any
video. They some white people.
With these hangings and stuff, they never produce any type of video. We're in the information age. We're in the technology age.
Nigga beat himself up and nigga, this shit is crazy.
You can't go around just hanging people
beat by some white people
found out.
Hung them, bruh.
You can't do that without law enforcement cracking the case if they want to crack the case. But that's too much like right. They don't want to crack a case that they actually are involved in.
A bigger case.
That's right, I said it.
Ponzi scheme.
Forever, law enforcement have been involved in these homicides, these lynchings. They've always had law enforcement involved in these lynchings to an extent. Always. Whether it be their family members.
That's what I be saying, man. These motherfuckers getting paid to kill these motherfuckers, man.
Or whether they themselves are doing it. You know? How you think these truckers are going missing? What can stop an 18-wheeler truck from going up that road? Emergency lights, emergency vehicles. They put them they put those emergency lights on. You got to pull over. Next thing you know, can't find your driver. Yeah, it's law enforcement. It's not a secret. It's law enforcement. It's law enforcement that gives people the audacity to even do it in the first place, and it's law enforcement are sometimes directly involved, or they're complicit in the cover-up. Yeah, or they just are indifferent.
But who even think about hanging a nigga? That's what I'm saying, bro.
Because they don't try to solve the case.
I think
at all.
Bruh, it's some weird shit that's going on.
So they're mad at Colin Kaepernick when they should be mad at the people who killed Trey Reed and the people who set him up and the people who have been involved in the cover-up. But that's too much like right, because if you're not involved in that case,
his body was bruised,
you're watching it from the outside, and we're presenting to you a second autopsy that said that Trey Reed had a fractured skull.
Yeah.
Bruises and contusions all around his body.
That's some fuck shit.
Organs missing.
Organs missing?
From the first autopsy.
Oh yeah, organs missing.
People said I was crazy.
Yeah, organs missing. Oh shit.
Come on. Oh, did I mention to you that this year
eating an organ harvesting nigga.
Delta State University's 100th anniversary? What other better way to commemorate the school than a good old-fashioned lynching in front of the pickleball court? That's the side where the whites are supposed to be on and the blacks cannot be on. That's where he was found, on the white side, where black people don't even go to. I just found out that
it's a racist ass white people eating black people, nigga. Taking their organs. I tell y'all niggas, we not eat the beans. Our melanin just man. Our organs are just naturally stronger than any race of humans in the world.
Sundown. Or else that's a free pass for them to inflict pain, to harm them. Yeah.
Organs
and the
missing.
only way you can have a sundown town is for law enforcement to be part of it.
They get paid by a group of white people. I'm telling y'all, these white people in this group for a long ass time.
Law enforcement has to be involved in it. The city officials have to be involved in sundown town, right? Because they make the rules, they make the laws, and they enforce the laws, right? Yeah. So they're involved.
Oh, yeah. We ain't racist. Our whole town is run by black. The whole time is rich white people who controlling it behind scenes and shit.
The local officials are not absolutely involved. But what say you, fam? Drop a comment. I love to hear your thoughts. Colin Kaepernick.
God, y'all will help us all. Thank God for using Kapetnick to get this freedom out.
No more talk.
Alright, we're back. So damn, man. Like I said, bruh, black people, we gotta wake up. They want our organs, man. You know what I'm saying? They want our flesh, man. We know that reptilians, man, are real. You know what I'm saying? And they're coming at people, man. And mostly melanated people. Or just people in general. Because they hungry. You know what I'm saying? And right now, all they doing is going for the organs. Because, you feel me? But because it's more delectable to them. But soon, they did this for it to get our attention. And they say it's white people. It could be. You know what I'm saying? We live in a crazy world, man. Stay woke. RIP. I'm glad Kaepernick put the extra money on it to looking into what's going on, because they don't want this news to come out about what we've been knowing. And we out this bitch. Hood, Northside, big crip in the gang, Northside shit.
Hey, Dad, you know, dog, when we link up, dog, this shit be legendary. You know this instrumental, you the engineer on it, so Kodak everywhere.